Righty. Welcome back. We're in module 3, which is how to stay booked. If you want to boil it all down to that, it's the business of being an operator. So it's really about budgeting and design and setting up your property and supplies, and then, how to optimize your listings and get clicks, and ultimately how to stay booked, right? So that's really what it boils down to. I'm a boil it down kind of guy. So that's really, to me, what operating is all about, how I can crush my competition, stay at 80% occupied after 10,000 reservations. And yeah, we're Superhost still. And we're at the top of all the platforms in which we book. Because again, we book on all of them. Google Travel, Booking.com, Expedia, Furnished Finder, Airbnb, and Vrbo, and HomeAway, and all those guys. And we have our own direct landing page. We just eclipsed the business that we're getting on Vrbo. Used to be a third of our business used to be Vrbo. And then it was mostly Airbnb and Vrbo. And then we got on all these other platforms. And then incrementally, they were taking away market share in our own world from those others. And that's the truth in reality. In reality, Google is coming after Airbnb. They let it be known. And so I'm going to get into that. So it's awesome. And so for us, it's equally as true. So Vrbo used to be a third of our business, and our direct bookings now eclipsed what we get on Vrbo. That's great news. I mean, if you can figure out how to make this entire thing yours, you don't even have to be beholden to those platforms. If you can figure out how to get 100% occupancy or 100% of your bookings direct, beautiful. I happen to think that's the future. Right now, I'm going to tell you the things that you can do to crush your competition like we do, and to stay at the top, and get over 80% occupancy. And all of it is very easy. It's not difficult because most hosts aren't doing these things right now, unfortunately. So I believe they're going to. I think in the next couple of years, they're either going to get out or they're going to do the things I'm about to tell you because people are giving it away for free like me. And they're going to do that. And also some people just won't because they're not going to do it. And because that's business, right? Then Rich, what is the next thing? How am I going to stay competitive next year or the year after that? I happen to think direct booking is that, as well as design. So I think you're starting to see that now. Funny, I was just on with one of my coaching students and we were looking in Nashville, and I was like, holy cow, this looks like there's some serious competition here. People are painting the ceilings now. We were doing it. Now everyone's doing it. And we were doing accent walls 2 years ago. Everyone's doing it. And so we're starting to see real nice design. I happen to think that's the future to stay competitive. But I think that the other big one is direct booking. If you can create a marketing machine behind your business, then you can stay booked. Right now, you don't have to do that. You can get on platforms. You go on multi-platforms, get a channel manager and all that stuff, and you can crush the competition. So I'll explain that in a minute. So budgeting and design. So I use the 60-30-10 rule, which is 60% of our properties, of our stuff that we're going to buy, is going to be natural color. It's going to sort of fit in the apartment. First, I look at the apartment, see what the colors are. If it's apartment beige, then there you go. Then you have a blank canvas. And then 60% of that is stuff you're going to buy online. You're going to buy on Amazon and IKEA and all those places. And then the other 30% is going to be some contrary color, something that's nice. So we use like bronze and a blue or whatever. You can use 2 different colors. And then 10% is going to be things that pop. So it's going to be some sort of coordinated design effort. Very easy to do. You can have a bright red, or we use these really crazy blue colors in our properties. And so 60-30-10. So you think of that when you're shopping. One of the ways I used to shop is I would go on Wayfair and look at these convertible sofas, which I don't get anymore, but these convertible sofas, and I would get them on sale, and they were always in like royal purple and these crazy blues and yellows and these obnoxious colors. And believe it or not, they really work from a color perspective, but I was getting them because they were on sale, and then I would design around them. So, I mean, listen, you don't have to, reinvent the wheel. Find out, get on Airbnb right now in your market, find out what other really, really successful hosts are doing, and copy them, or, get inspired by them, use that in things, and then do a contrary color. Don't do them in your neighborhood though, because you don't want to copy someone's color. You want to stand out in your neighborhood. So one of the things we do by the beach, especially everyone by the beach around here in California is doing the same beach theme, surfboard on the wall and all that stuff. Well, we do something very contrary. So we pick a theme. So we were doing like Art Deco. Very easy to do. You can find Art Deco stuff everywhere. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a designer. And the other thing we're doing is there's usually a color theme. So you could find, like, most neighborhoods, they have some sort of general colors, and you thumbing through photos, the top listings, do something contrary to the colors so you stand out. So that's another way to optimize it, but keeping your design in mind. Identify your target guest. Knowing your customer is business 101. No different here. And you can answer, well, I want them all. You don't want them all. You want to pick which, based on where your property is and what type of property it is and all that stuff, pick your avatar. So we do research. First, you get online, you find out who travels in that market. We do it on Airbnb. But if I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment that's by the beach, one of our buildings has a movie a movie theater in it and a game room, and it's by a big theme park. It was a no-brainer. That's our family place. So I'm going to put a popcorn machine and a 70-inch TV, and we're going to make sure that we advertise on our listing that we have a library of movies. Maybe as one of our thumbnails, we put Moana or whatever the big movie that's coming out. We swap those out, by the way. So we know families are going to stay at this building. And we also, by the way, in our 1-bedroom in that building, we also get digital nomads, and we get people coming for work because right nearby is built military base and this hospital. So we get people that stay with us. So we take a photo of a dedicated workstation. So, all right, we're going to have to buy a desk. I'm going to have to get supercharged Wi-Fi or internet speed. Know your people. So if we're by a military base, we have one property that's by a Marine base. So we know we're going to get families coming in for graduations and all that. So we make the unit suitable for them. We design with that in mind. We list the amenities. We get amenities that are them in mind. We have one property that we knew having 2 king beds wasn't good enough. We wanted 1 king bed because a king bed is the hook. Get a king bed if you can, if your room's big enough. But in the second room, we wanted 2 queens. It's a big enough room. We put the TV in the second room, not the first. You put the TV in the kids' room, and then we got we don't use sofas that pull out anymore. We get a rollaway bed. So now we can stack them in there, but not too many people, but we stack them in there because we knew this one place was by a military base, and we used to get whole families that would come in there on a budget. And so we're fine with them. They were the best. They are the best guests. So keep your budget and your properties in mind. So here are the biggest categories. There's families with kids, travelers with pets, workationers, people that are coming to work, digital nomads, I guess you could call them these days, young people that just don't need to be in one spot. And so they travel, and a lot of them stay in budget-friendly 1-bedroom apartments. And so keep them in mind. Use your listing, like I say, get a dedicated workstation, a door that shuts in a room, a gym. A gym is super important for them, and that sort of thing. Millennials, Gen Z, older people, you have to keep those in mind. So that's just kind of business 101, but worth mentioning in your design when you're about to shop. Keep the location in mind too, where you are. If we advocate in listing in properties that have work travel, vacation travel, and leisure and business travel. So all of them. So theoretically, we're appealing to a lot of different people. Typically not. We're in the markets to attract the most types of travelers, but your design is going to be focused on a certain type of traveler, especially if you want to put in your position that you are in that marketplace, right? You want to compete against another listing. You're like, you know what? I think they're exclusively going after vacationers, but we get a lot of traveling nurses in this market. I'm going to put in here that I have a box fan, that it's in the quiet part of the building, and that, we have blackout drapes because nurses sleep in the day. And so you just have to think about that. It's just a way to stand out in them. I'm no longer doing themes, but we do light themes. Like I said, deco. Or, we do minimal. We have one apartment, we do a minimalist because it's in downtown, and it's for, date night types, and it has a great view. And so we focus on that traveler avatar in there. So then look for design inspiration. I used to do it on Pinterest, but here's the best hack ever. Go to Airbnb. Like I said, go to Airbnb, find the best host. Airbnb elevates the best host to the top of the page. So see what they're doing. Airbnb has just like Verbo has an interest algorithm. So you get more clicks based on interest, and conversely, you'll get more bookings. And then out of all of that, then Airbnb keeps you at the top of the page. It's cyclical. So you get better reviews, you get better page, you get better clicks, and you get more bookings. And then Airbnb rewards success with success. So they do that. So look at those hosts and see what they're doing. And so see what kinds of listings. Don't copy them identically, but get inspiration from them. See what works. Like I said, I was just doing a coaching call. We were in Nashville, and I was like awed by the level of design sophistication that some of those hosts has. A lot of them were apartments, just like us. And you can do an accent wall in an apartment, peel and stick, or panels, or paint, and just get the code from the landlord. And if you ever have to move out, then you use that. But, arguably, you're not going to move out. You're going to be successful in there forever. So I get on job boards and things like that for or sorry, so, design boards on Pinterest, but go right to Airbnb, listing your property. So list on multiple platforms. Go on booking.com, Expedia, Furnish Finder, HomeAway, Verbo, Airbnb, Google Travel is huge. And then use a channel manager to corral it all. So we use Hospitable, and I'll show you here what that looks like. So we use Hospitable as our channel manager. All right, so here's Hospitable. This is the greatest tool ever. $35 a month, I think it is, per listing, and it goes down from this. This is a message thread. So you can see here, this guy booked from Google. This one's Airbnb, Verbo. It connects them all. And the ones that it doesn't connect, like Expedia, it doesn't connect the platform Expedia. You can add the booking here, and then your messaging automation will go out after here, which you load here. Welcome to our property. Here's our restaurant reviews. Here's what to do when you want to check out tomorrow. All of that is preloaded. We have 900 canned messages in here. And the greatest thing of all is this direct booking. You can create a landing page that connects with your bank account. Now you have your own direct booking page. So Hospitable is the way to go multi-platform. It allows your VA, if you hire a VA, to sync it all together. You'll crush your competition. 70% of American hosts are only on up to 2 platforms, Airbnb and Verbo. Let that sink in. That's incredible. If I'm a traveler on booking.com, and I only use booking.com. Most people don't use multiple platforms. I only use Airbnb, but some people only use Google Travel or booking.com. And I'm a host and I only am on Verbo and Airbnb. You're not going to get business from them. So go on as many platforms as possible. You'll immediately make more money. It is tedious and time consuming. That's why we get VAs. So, or a team member. Set up your property. So, design sense, set up your property, use pricing software. Pricing software, we use Price Labs. Pricing software will make you money. It costs money, but it will make you money because you'll leave money on the table when you're not pricing appropriately, or you won't get bookings if you're too expensive and you don't know it. And so it will dynamically price your property. So go multi-platform, get a direct booking page, use pricing software, use a channel manager, hire a virtual assistant. We use a job board, onlinejobs.ph in the Philippines, the best people on the planet. I love hiring in the Philippines, and we treat them fairly. They're on our team. We just paid for maternity leave for 2 of our gals. They just came back, both had babies. They were out for, we paid them their 40 hours a week. Unfortunately, they do have like a maternity leave pay in the Philippines, but if you work from home, they don't. So they fell through the cracks. We pay for them. They're back on our team, big part of our organization. VAs are the lifeblood of our business. 80 to 90% of this job is communications. So that's our VA communicating with housekeepers, communicating with guests, and answering inquiries. So hire a VA to do all those things. And here's a big one. Use professional photos. Go on Airbnb, 1 county away, find out another listing that looks fantastic, and then contact the host. Say, hey, man, I'm a host over here in this other county. Can you refer me to your photographer? I'd like to give them business. No one's going to say no. Anybody who says no, come on. I like to give business to my photographer. I like to give business to everybody. So we do that. And you're not going to step on toes because you're not competition with them. Who would care about that? Then get an Airbnb deluxe photographer if that's what they are. And the $420 it costs for a 2-bedroom apartment for them, which is double what our old one that we used to use that we found on Thumbtack. And she was very good. She is very good, but not as good as this new one. And the $420, you get ROA same day. Day one. So it's probably the best thing you can do for your property. I would put it up there with going multi-platform. Great photos is right up there. Go multi-platform, use pricing software, get a VA to manage it all together, then get on professional photos with a staged apartment with that design sense that I said, with an accent wall and blackout drapes. Take out those vertical blinds, put up blackout drapes, put a chandelier, pull out that old the lighting fixture in the kitchen of an apartment. That one could be one of your hero photos. It could be one of your title photos. All of that, those 5 steps will make you dominate in a market. You'll win. And you'll make a bunch of money, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's very inexpensive. You do all of that for under $8 a square foot, maybe 9. We're $8 a square foot. I skimp. I go in under budget every single time. And if I have to pull something off of my shopping list to get in that apartment so I can get paid back, I'll add it later on. If I have to do a smart lock or an accent wall later, I'll do it. But I get in that apartment. Cost is super important. Staying under budget, setting up your property. So have everything sent to a storage unit that accepts deliveries. Big hack. Storage unit that accepts deliveries. Get a U-Haul, hire 2 guys to load it up, set it up. And if you want to set it up yourself, great. If you don't, hire an operations person, like a co-host in a market, a young person that's a co-host, and say, hey, I don't live in Austin. I live in Miami. Can you set up my property? And they're like, well, yeah, let's talk. And say, well, I'm not going to have you set up anything. I literally just want you standing there, making sure my housekeeper shows up and cleans up the place, unless 2 day workers are in there setting up everything. And then when it's all over, can you kind of do your thing and, touch it up and look around? So I have a whole hack. It's very lengthy on that part of it. So you don't need to go to a city and set up your property. That's basically in a snapshot how to do it. Don't have anything sent to the property building. Have it sent to a storage unit. Get a 13-foot U-Haul truck for $89. 2 day workers that you can get on Craigslist. Have them send you send them a link, and they can have in 30 seconds. Hey, why I want to work for you. Do that. I know it sounds crazy. Who's going to do that? Well, guess what? If they don't do that, they're not going to work for you. But do all those things so you avoid no-shows. You want some intentionality when you hire people, even if it's just a day laborer. And what I always do, say, hey, do you guys have a tool bag? I need you to mount a wall thing. I need you to assemble furniture. If they don't have a tool bag, typically they're not that handy. Everyone has a tool bag. So if that can do stuff. And then the other thing is say, hey, look, I don't live here. Maybe we can work something out over time. Can you be on call if something goes down at my property? And then you have someone that can do stuff for you. They can hang pictures. They can do stuff for you. They can work for you. And if someone's on Craigslist looking for work, they're not going to say no, but you do have to interview them. Interview them on your phone. It takes 5 minutes. And so the day you get a lease, here are the first 4 things that I would do. So hire your housekeeper. We recruit on Craigslist. Our students got our whole ad copy and our whole process, but basically hire on Craigslist. Make sure that they're able to do way more than cleaning. They're going to do inventory and supplies and perhaps even be on call if somebody gets locked out. Second, hires your VA. Again, our students, we actually help them recruit our VAs and everything. We onboard them and the whole thing. Hire your VA. Third thing you're going to do is list your property. You're going to list it on Airbnb, and then share the photos with your VA, and then have that person list on booking.com and Expedia and all those places I told you, have them do that. Well, wait a minute, Rich, how am I going to list a property? I haven't even moved in. I just signed a lease. Guess what? You're going to use the photos of the model of the apartment building. You're going to use them with the permission of the office. But better yet, would you rather be vacant this whole time, not knowing, or list it with the small inconvenience of you calling every single one of your new guests, the first 3, I suppose, and say, hey, by the way, the photos that you saw on the listing, that's the building, that's the floor plan, that's our apartment building. But those are model photos. We're moving in next week. You're going to be our first guest. So welcome. You're going to be our first guest. The place is going to be great. If you don't like this, if you feel uncomfortable with this whole thing, we'll cancel you right now, and you can cancel right now, and we'll refund you. We've never had someone cancel. Every single time they've gone in, they're like, wow, the place is great. They know they're going to be the first. Who wouldn't want to be the first in a new place, right? And so we do that. And that gets us booking. So you're booked. You're going to list today. You just signed a lease. You're going to be listed today. Block the calendar until 2 days after you move in. Move in on a Wednesday, 48 hours on a Friday. Use a Friday as the hook, and you're going to be booked every time. Most of the time, we're racing to finish the place by the guest is checking in at 3. Day 1, we set it up. Takes 4 hours. Day 1 at evening, housekeeper comes in, cleans it up. Second day, the property person that I mentioned will kind of, set it up, make sure the pictures are even, stage it in a way, meets the photographer. The photographer actually does stage for us, stages it, takes photos, and then leaves. And then the next day you have a whole afternoon of what ifs. So sometimes we've had the internet box didn't come in time. So the AT&T had to come in on Friday. So we had our person meet them, and there was a race to get it set up. That's plenty of time. Sometimes you can get it set up in one day, all of it in one day. But sometimes the accent wall goes up on Thursday, and you need to dry and all that stuff on Friday. But that's the process, the 4 things. And then the 4th thing you do is so that was list your property. And the 4th thing you're going to do is shop. So then you shop, and you get everything sent to the storage unit that you just secured. You order your U-Haul, and now you're set up. Now there's a few more steps in this process, but that's how you set up the entire process. So I hope that helps how to get inspired about your listing, how to shop for your listing, design your listing, the logistics behind setting it up, then how to optimize your listing, get more clicks and more bookings, and then the move-in itself and all that, and then how your VA manages the entire process. I know there's tons of value in there. This is something that's typically in most paid communities or paid programs, but I just thought I'd give you all this value. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of stuff in the nuances to this, the tactics of each of those. And yes, that is included in the paid program, but this free one, you could do a lot with this. And I hope that helps, whether you're currently a host and you own your properties, or you're arbitraging your properties, or you're a co-host and you're currently managing, you wanted some help, or you're thinking about getting into rental arbitrage, which is really geared toward those people are thinking about getting into rental arbitrage. This is really going to help you there. But I obviously believe in listing optimization will help anybody and everybody. If you're a co-host, by the way, and you're doing these things, the recommendation you can tell your client is, yeah, I want you to get on multiple platforms. Why in the world aren't you on Google Travel? Why aren't you on Book? Well, because it's tedious and time consuming. Well, guess what? I'm here for you for that. Or our VA that we should be hiring is here for that. So there's that. So I hope all that helps. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.